So the theme for this video is overstimulation. So the thing that happened to me, or I should say, happened for me, the other day, I believe this was 2 days ago now, I'm realizing was more than just, I'm going to suggest that this is a spiritual awakening happening. And specifically because looking at how things are unfolding, I'm realizing that for the longest time, I've been very overstimulated by everything and therefore numbed out, right? Just like avoiding, distracted, like all of that kind of stuff. There's a lot of noise in the mind, right? And when we're not comfortable with that noise, we usually tend to try to create some other type of noise to distract us from this noise. That can be very problematic. Now, it's nice to listen to music, right? It is. It's nice to listen to, a podcast, right? If it's something that you're really passionate about, if it's something that's helpful and that can help you learn. But what we often tend to neglect to do is actually take time to ourselves, right? And people are like, "Oh, I'll take time to myself, like this, that, and the other." And it's like, yeah, but take time to yourself. Put your technology away, everything, and actually tune into the body, right? That's hard for a lot of people to do. And, the amount of times that I have found myself in the past just getting consumed by social media. Now, listen, I think social media is a great thing. I think that it's absolutely beneficial for people, regardless of whether you're, you own a business and you're building a brand on social media, or you're just using it for your own personal life, right? It's a great tool. It's a fantastic tool. I'm not here to crap on social media. I'm not here to shit on social media. But what I am here to do is to suggest that people, we live in a very dysfunctional society, right? The society is not foundationally built around what is beneficial for the individual, right? The individual has to figure out what's beneficial for itself, but because the average individual, I would argue, is not or doesn't know the self. It doesn't know what's most beneficial for the self, and because it's probably coming from a system that is dysfunctional. When I say system, I mean family, right? With dynamics that are dysfunctional or exceedingly dysfunctional. We got very used to that kind of stuff. And so we actually seek it out. And this is why society looks the way that it does, right? With all of the different elements and everything. This wants your attention, that wants your attention, everything else wants your attention, but the where the attention is most beneficial to go first and foremost, and where it most often does not go, is to the self, right? So as I've been through my process of healing, which has been incredible, what I've learned is that you need to take time to yourself, right? You need to know what it means to take time to yourself. And I would argue it's not a matter of more often than not taking time to yourself is actually being alone. It is like, don't get me wrong, there are things that you're going to enjoy doing, right? I would argue that one of the most challenging ways to take time to yourself is to actually take time to yourself with no distractions, being by yourself, right? Connecting with yourself. Maybe that's understanding your mental and emotional universe. Maybe that's understanding the sensations in your body and why they're there. Yeah, we live in a society that is crazy overstimulated. Like, I'm realizing it now. Like, there are notifications left and right. Everything wants your attention, and in this day and age, it's so important. I mean, it's always been important to pay yourself first when it comes to where you're putting your attention, where you're putting your energy, all that kind of stuff. You need to be paying yourself first. You need to, because you really can't take care of anybody else until you're doing that. But it's just so interesting. Like, I over the past 2 days, 2 days ago when I ate dinner, I was completely present with the dinner that I was eating, and it's like I never tasted so fully what I was eating before, and it's so interesting how the dynamics change when you're actually present with the experience. Um, and then last night I was eating a delicious salad. It was so interesting just being present with the salad, you know. I have plenty of concerns regarding the direction of society and where it's headed and everything, and what people are saying that you need, and just how burnt out people are becoming, and this idea that we need to be productivity machines and everything, and just like on point 24/7. We're frying ourselves. We're totally frying ourselves. So yeah, we live in an era where there's just overstimulation, because whatever you want is available at your fingertips, And then on top of that, building on that and everything, just furthering the development of that and integrating that into society. Um, if we haven't already seen a crash, we're going to. Like people are numbed out. People are completely numbed out. They're numbed out. They're vacant. They're dissociated. They're just not there. But these are all things. These are all coping mechanisms. Of course, they're unhealthy, but they're all coping mechanisms based on their upbringing and everything. And so they're seeking out what's familiar to them, right? They're all seeking out everything that's familiar to them, and that's why we're seeing things unfold the way that they are. And the other day, like I was mindlessly scrolling. I was just completely mindlessly scrolling, and then I stopped myself, and I was like, dude, be here. Be here. I heard this thing, I think it was like 2 months ago. I don't remember how long ago it was, but it was like, be where your feet are. And that means put your phone down and pick your head up. Again, I'm not against technology at all. I think technology is so cool. But what I am very concerned about is the direction, the development in terms of where we're headed technologically, and the lack of moderation that people have in their lives. Because you know one of the most challenging things, I would argue, for an individual to do is to feel, right? For many reasons. They've been taught that feeling is not acceptable. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's anger. It doesn't matter if it's sad. It doesn't matter what it is. Feeling is not acceptable. So therefore, the act of feeling is actually very challenging for so many people. And it's so interesting, because like there's this balance between all of this stuff that's happening and all these things that are grabbing people's attention. And people, I can hear people's inner childs just like screaming and crying for help. Like, you know everything's on fire, and we're just trying to put out all of the fires around us. But like, all those fires would go out if we just brought our attention back to ourselves, brought our energy and awareness back to ourselves. This is the way that I think about it. And this is not to say that this is not to say, and it does not mean that there are going to be things around the world that just cease to exist happening, right? But when you stop giving something your attention, maybe, for a while it's going to scream and cry until it gets it again. But ultimately it's going to fade out. Like the news, right? This is a great example for this. The news, I don't know if it would cease to exist if we stopped giving it our attention, but its function might change if we stopped giving it our attention. Now, do we need to know everything that's going on in the news 24/7? Absolutely not. No, we don't. Up to the minute you're up? No, thank you. I need to be up to this, up to myself the minute I'm up. Or maybe not. Not even. No, now that I'm looking at that and realizing that, no, I don't need to be completely tuned into myself the minute I'm up. I need to, I'm waking up. I need to integrate everything, regulate, tune in and be with myself. That's the first and foremost important thing. If we want to be able to create meaningful lives for ourselves, we need to tune into ourselves first.